Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are here with a very special video. Some might say an unexpected video, especially with the man that we are here with today, Mr. Rory Jennings. How's things, mate?
Been better.
Aye. Just been better,
Yeah.
mate. How's the old Twitter notifications? How's all
Yeah,
that gone for you?
busy, very busy. But look, a lot of the stick is totally justified. I've got absolutely no issue with it. I think
Oh, yeah.
Scotland fans have been massively on my case. A clip went out. I don't know if you've seen it yet,
Oh, I've
but
seen it many times.
Playing France, you probably play Reece James. But I think England a lot of the time we're going to be playing Scotland. We're going to be looking to score 6 or 7. You go for Alexander-Arnold.
have you seen the one with Kevin Bridges?
Oh, I haven't actually. No, I haven't seen that one.
It's a very funny clip. I've just put it on my Instagram account. Actually, like it's funny.
Right.
I think a lot of the stick, and this is kind of why I've got quite a lot of admiration for the Scotland support, because they've been giving me stick, but they've been doing it in the right way.
Yeah.
I've had
It's good banter.
Yeah, they've been very harsh, but they kept it to football, which I kind of can't have an issue with. Like I don't know, when I've had issues in the past, people start commenting on pictures of me and my kid or whatever, and you're like, "What are you doing?" Whereas this hasn't been that. This has just been, "You said you were going to score 6 or 7. You arrogant idiot."
Yeah.
Totally.
So they sent you about 6 or 7 memes because that's how many uses you were going to actually concede. Basically, that's what's kind of been going on. Because I can't go on Twitter now, mate, if it's seeing your face right now. Honestly, every time I go to my notifications, there's another post. But I wanted to know, just kind of a day later or a morning after, and if like, what is your thoughts? Because I think the way you were feeling, you weren't on your own, Rory. Trust me, I've spoke to a lot of people. A lot of people was basically saying the same thing as you, but you kind of put it out there. You're willing to put it out there in the space, but by God, did all that just get flipped on everyone who said it, because the performance was horrible for England.
The performance was awful. But do you know what was quite weird? That clip, it wasn't an intentional thing. Like sometimes we create clips and we know that they're gonna, we hope that they're gonna resonate. But that wasn't that. We weren't discussing Scotland at all. We were discussing who should play right back for England. And in the moment of discussing who should play right back for England, I happened to mention the Scotland game. And it obviously, what happened is there's a podcaster who I like, by the way, I really like, Scottish chap who I follow on Twitter, and he follows me. Right. His name is James English. Oh, he's a very good podcaster. I like him. I follow him. He saw the clip. He follows me as well, but I don't know if he realised it was me. But he saw the clip and pushed it out. And that was the genesis, that was that lit the fire underneath it, and it got a lot of traction before the game. But I genuinely think, like, talking to my mates who are Scottish, like I know a few lads in London, like Scottish lads in London, they all hated the arrogance involved in my comment, but agreed with me. Yeah, they thought England were going to win convincingly. They weren't sure about Steve Clarke, which I found weird because, look, I have an undying love for Steve Clarke. Steve Clarke played as an integral part. Yeah, Steve Clarke played as an integral part of the back four that I fell in love with. Like the back four where I fell in love with Chelsea went Steve Clarke on one, Steve Clarke right back, Erland Johnson, Jakob Jelberg, and Terry Phelan. Steve Clarke was part of the reason that I fell in love with Chelsea. So I will always love him. But a lot of people that I was talking to wasn't overly convinced by his tactics, overly convinced by his ambition. But he embarrassed Gareth Southgate. I thought he showed Gareth Southgate up. The bravery displayed by Steve Clarke in having the minerals to put somebody like Billy Gilmour in there was shown up by Gareth Southgate not having the minerals to select someone like Jude Bellingham. Yeah. So I thought Scotland got it spot on. Steve Clarke got it right. And ultimately, you've got to be more gutted than me because you were worthy of a win.
Well, I think if you go back and you look at the game, Scotland should have actually won the game. They had a couple of chances. Yes, John Stones had probably the sitter of the tournament. Every time you see it, every time an angle comes, it's just you couldn't ask for any more. Any player on the park would dream of that opportunity. But that was pretty much it for the attack that's got the likes of Foden. I mean, this man dyed his hair, Rory, to be Gaza, and he got substituted and handcuffed by a right back for Motherwell. Do you know what I mean? He just took out the game completely. I never saw anything for him.
Yeah, Foden didn't have a good game. Look, the issue is, I think that we can focus on Southgate. Like my issue, I did a live stream just now actually, and the angle was Southgate getting it wrong. But you're right. The players have to take responsibility for their own performances. And while the tactics I think were wrong, while the personnel being selected was wrong, Harry Kane,
go out there,
he's got to take responsibility for his own performance. I think Phil Foden has to take responsibility for their own performance. They weren't up to it. They didn't play to their full potential. But a lot of the credit there has to go to Scotland. Like, I mean, you said that in a fairly disparaging way about the right back from Motherwell, but I thought he was brilliant.
It was. It's kind of a running theme because everyone's been moaning about him all week because he had such a bad game on Monday. None of us wanted him to play, and then he comes out and puts in a performance like that where he was so strong defensively. He was up against Sterling at one point. He had Foden on one point, and he was just so strong defensively. It was one of those things where it's a complete night and day from where he was on Monday to now, where everyone is talking about him positively. And I thought something we talked about when we done our previous video was on that part, when you go across that white line, wages, values, none of that matters, but who wants it more on the day? Who's willing to put in the extra yards? Who's willing to chase doing lost causes? Who's willing to run that extra bit when they're tired? And for me, it was the Scottish players that was willing to do it. It was maybe the a couple of English players are thinking, all right, we're through, blah, 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 didn't want to get. But again, this is a rivalry game. It's an important game. It was an important game for the fans, for the people that was doing there. And Scotland just outran them and outworked them from the start to the end.
Yeah, I think Scotland wanted it more. They definitely showed more desire. But I also think that England just got it wrong tactically and personnel.
CDMs. Yeah, it was interesting.
Mate, also, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, CJ, right? But the love that we have been displaying to Calvin Phillips, it just baffles me. I think the second that he came up, after the performance against Croatia, I know he had a good game. I know he got the assist and therefore got the highlights. But I said it at the time. I said the second that he comes up against a more physical and more combative midfield, he will look like what he is, which is a decent Premier League player, but not an international footballer. And he came up against that Scotland midfield and he was average at best. We shouldn't be having two in that situation. We certainly shouldn't be having two when there's half an hour to go. Declan Rice should be able to marshal that on his own. Yeah. And we could then have somebody like Jack Grealish, as well as Foden and whoever. Like, it shouldn't be one or the other. Like, the responsibility of a good manager isn't to say, is it Foden or Grealish? It's your responsibility to get those two brilliant talents playing together. And that's why they're not good enough. Southgate's not good enough.
It's like what Scotland's done with Tierney and Robertson. They have found a system and a way to get them both into the starting 11 because we tried them at right back for a wee while. We realised that wasn't going to work out. Now we play the three at the back and allow Tierney, who I thought was excellent, especially just back from an injury in the game as well. But you mentioned Declan Rice there, and obviously you're a big Chelsea man, die-hard, and he's obviously linked constantly with all this money. But you've got another guy there for Chelsea who I thought was outstanding, got a man of the match in his first ever start for his country, Billy Gilmour. And I just thought that was a player that was willing, again, to drop in areas like we spoke about on your channel, Rory, but also go forward with the football. Wee quick little passes. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, he's an amazing player. Like this is a very unpopular thing that I'm about to say, but why not? I've done it already. I think he's a better player than Jorginho. It's not, right. In fact, I think he's a better player for Chelsea in the Premier League than Jorginho. Whether somebody wants to make a case that Jorginho was a brilliant player, international football, a brilliant player in Italy, fine. But what Billy Gilmour does and the way that he plays the game is better for Chelsea in the Premier League. Yeah. And I think that he should be thrown in the deep end. I think it was brave from Steve Clarke. I think the easiest thing for Steve Clarke to do was to not trust a kid. Yeah. It's easy because then if the more senior, like the brave decision from Southgate would be drop Harry Kane and put Calvert-Lewin in. The easy decision is to play Harry Kane because if Kane doesn't perform, you go, well, Kane's one of the best players in the world. It's not my fault he didn't perform. Yeah. Whereas if you've dropped him, the buck stops with you. And Steve Clarke was very brave in playing Billy Gilmour. It turns out that it wasn't that brave at all because Billy Gilmour is an elite level footballer.
Ridiculous.
And it was ridiculous not to have started him. But I still think that he got it right. And it was a brave move to do that. So I think Billy Gilmour will go all the way. I think, when you think about the ceiling of his career. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if there's no reason Billy Gilmour doesn't captain Chelsea to a European Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like he's that kind of player. He's that good a talent.
He came for your youth academy, so I love hearing that, mate. Grew up all the way up here.
Is your feelings towards Gilmour one of support? You don't have any sort of hostility because he left?
It was sore. See, when he first left, because we were all like, oh no, because at that point Chelsea had kind of a running theme of getting in young talented players and then loaning them absolutely everywhere. And I thought we would never see him again, and that right. But now when you've seen the way he's went, I'm quite friendly with somebody that's in his family as well, Stevie, and it just talks about what a grounded lad he is, how hard working he is, and he's so determined to make it as a footballer. He's not interested in the off the field stuff and the finances. It's football. He just loves football. And you just look at a player coming from our, obviously, youth academy, which of course Rangers, and then going out there and just doing what he's doing. I think he's played in 4 competitions, and in every start, first start, he's won man of the match. Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, and now at the Euros. That's ridiculous, Rory.
Yeah,
it's absolutely madness.
I mean, it is ridiculous, but at some point, we need to stop being surprised about his brilliance.
I love that.
At some point, you know how we're kind of going, well, that's weird. How's he done that again?
Yeah.
It's not weird. He does it. That's what he does.
Yeah.
You know, we have to just acknowledge that he is a top tier footballer who has the world at his feet. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I love him. I follow, weirdly, I follow his mum on Twitter.
Right.
And like she put out a series of pictures.
Oh, I've seen them, yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like, you know, he obviously comes from like a really good family. She was bursting with pride. It was lovely to see. And his performance really was the reason that Scotland now have it in their own hands to qualify from the group. Which
that's all you could ask for.
It did not look like that 4 days ago.
No, we made a video obviously on your channel the day before, and some of the changes that I wanted to see was one of them. I was wanting O'Donnell out the squad, but he kind of came in there. Some arguments may be made that wasn't the same O'Donnell we've seen on Monday, but the other one was Billy Gilmour in the middle of the park and Che Adams up top. Yes, Adams was unlucky with a couple of wee shots, but his work rate and his effort, and there was a massive difference. And I just loved the way they went out and boot it.
You know what, again, CJ, I thought the QPR boy did all right as well.
Big Dykes.
Yeah, I think he had a good game. I don't think he's a good player, but I think he had a good game.
I thought it was an interesting watching the physical battle with Mings, because that's something that's been heavily talked about from the English pundits, and I'm hearing that's why he's in the Rewad that well. Maguire's obviously out, but he seemed to like the tussle back and forth, and I think that kind of took Mings a little bit out, and Adams was able to then work on Stones and move him about, so I was very impressed with him.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you feel like you can go through now? Do you feel like you can beat Croatia?
You know, and maybe it's just the pure Scottishness that's actually in me, Rory, but I'm so pessimistic because I seen on Monday where we set up wrong, we were too cautious, we didn't go for it. We then went to Wembley and played the team that should have started in the first game. Now there's a part of me in the back of my mind saying we might no play Billy twice in a row. We might make a couple of wee changes, but I think if we play the same team and if we attack it, I've not been impressed with Croatia, I'll be honest.
But a draw will do it for you as well, won't it? A draw will do it for you because they're on 1 point.
Yeah. Well, depending on the goal difference, right enough.
Yeah, a good goal difference. So yeah, I suppose you've got to go for the win, actually.
Yeah. We'd have to go for the win with that one. But I've got to be honest, you've now played Croatia. I watched them versus Czech Republic, and yes, Czech Republic got one of the worst penalties I've ever seen given. If I'm honest with you, I don't understand why that's a penalty, but I've not been impressed with them. So I don't think Scotland's got Scottish fans or anything's got anything to fear going into this game, Rory, because if you offered anybody in Scotland or anyone that was looking at Scotland wanting them to do well, saying, right, we'll give you one game, the last game to go through, everyone would bite your hands off for that.
There's no reason why Scotland can't get a good result against Croatia. I think it can happen.
Absolutely, mate. And that's something we said as well. One of us would be dancing. And I think it's fair to say I was the one dancing. I don't think it was dancing for you, Rory. It was your Twitter notifications, big man, because by God, is it bad out there.
Turned off, mate. There are no notifications on. Don't worry about that. They will really off.
I love it, mate. But full credit to Scotland, because I think it's easier always just to say, oh, England was terrible. I think Scotland made them. They made them very uncomfortable in the middle of the park, didn't let them settle, because Calvin Phillips, I mean, I got memed. I was in the meme treatment because I said in the video, I would have McGinn over Phillips, and then he plays that phenomenal game on Monday. So I was getting tweeted everything. So
right. You're right. Yeah. McGinn is a better player than Calvin Phillips.
Well, I wish someone else said that with me for a couple of days, but I think they're realising it now after that game there. But it's all set up nicely. But where do you sit now from the England perspective? Because there'll be a lot of people watches this channel will be looking in England. I know a lot of people down south that's big Rangers fans. So from England, where your confidence was, it's coming home, blah, blah, blah. Where do you feel now? Are you still as confident going into the latter stages?
the two things can coexist. Realistically, no.
Right.
Realistically, no. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be wearing a bucket hat, getting sunburnt, telling everyone it's coming home. I think it's kind of our responsibility to do that. That's what we do.
What's being a fan is.
Yeah. That seems to wind everyone up. Just as you sing, you've got your stuff about yes, sir, I can boogie the way. All of that. It exists irrespective of the football, doesn't it? It exists irrespective of the results, the performances. That is how you approach the game, and our approach is similar but different. Our approach is we're the best. We don't care about you. We're going to win. We're going to win everything, and ultimately we come up short. So of course I'm going to be adopting that policy. The bucket hat will be on imminently. But no, realistically, I think England have problems, and I think that there's a big issue with the way that England approach the game. I mean, this is probably not the place for this conversation, but the FA and the way that they go about appointing their managers.
Southgate's interesting.
Yeah, it's horrific. It needs to be looked at. I think that Gareth Southgate shouldn't be in that job. Gareth Southgate has done nothing. If football is a meritocracy, Gareth Southgate has done nothing to suggest that he should be managing England. He has as much right to manage England as I do, and that's not hyperbole. That's I've done nothing. I've done nothing in a managerial conversation to suggest that I could manage the England national team. Gareth Southgate has done nothing in a managerial conversation to suggest that he can manage the national team. Absolutely nothing. He shouldn't be in that job. The fact that he's in it opens up a conversation about why, and then I think it's not football. It's obviously not football. He's obviously in the job because he's a yes man. He warms the heart of sponsors. He shakes hands with the right men. He says the right thing at the right time for the right people, for the right price, and therefore gets a job. And that is something that really does need to be looked at. But that's a conversation that goes a lot deeper than...
I just think it's very telling, mate, where coming from the two managers' perspectives, there seem to be agendas from both managers coming into this game. The fans were clamouring. They were wanting Billy Gilmour released. And Clark let go of his agenda of playing the players that he knows and he trusts and he knows that can do him a job. And he took a risk. But Gareth Southgate, despite every time that camera went on Jack Grealish or everything, the crowd was going nuts. They wanted him. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't take the risk. So I thought it was interesting that Clark was willing to let go.
It's bravery, though. We're back to being brave, because the easiest thing to do, if you don't want to be proved wrong, don't give it the opportunity to be proved wrong. So if Steve Clarke doesn't want to be proved wrong because he didn't play Billy Gilmour, the best thing he can do is not play Billy Gilmour, because he can't be proved wrong if Billy Gilmour's not given the opportunity. I think it's something similar for Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate has genuine bravery, genuine ambition for England to go as far in this tournament. He should drop Raheem Sterling, in my opinion, drop Harry Kane.
Wow.
And Kane's not up to it. Kane looks flat. He looks injured to me.
And he seems to be dropping very deep. He was about as deep as Marshall was forward in the Czech Republic game, honestly.
He was playing alongside at various points. He was playing alongside Calvin Phillips. That's not what we need. We need somebody to lead the line, play with their back to goal, bring others into play, and that's Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me.
Do you think it had anything to do with Hanley just bullying him physically? Do you think he was like, I'm going to need to get away from him because with the five at the back and the three at the back, Hanley just followed him everywhere and every time on him. I
don't think Kane is on form. I don't think he's fit. I really don't think he's fit. I think there's something going on. I think he's been rushed back and he's not fit because, look, Hanley had a good game, but he's not a good player. Like I watched Hanley get I watched Hanley get totally out jumped by that Patrick Schick. Everyone spoke about the second goal, but
the first one's more annoying.
Hanley for the first header, like that shouldn't have happened. Harry Kane obviously has it in him to do that, but the fact that Hanley was on his case so easily makes me think that Kane wasn't up. Therefore, he needs to be dropped. But I don't think that he will do that. I don't think that Southgate will do that. But when the team lineup comes out for the game against the Czech Republic, if Raheem Sterling is there and Jadon Sancho isn't,
that's unbelievable. By the way,
we riot. There's only there needs to be a massive answer to that, because Raheem Sterling has proved time and time again that he is not up to it when it really matters. And that he's done that for his club and for his country. So he needs to be dropped. I think Sancho is the answer, but I also think there needs to be a world where Sancho, Grealish and Foden all have the opportunity of playing together. That's what a good manager will do. A good manager will get
the good players in.
Yeah,
exactly, mate. Like Tierney and Robertson, you find a way, and now eventually we've now got Billy Gilmour as well, so it's interesting. So now, kind of before we wrap up or anything like that, Rory, I just want your predictions for the end of the group. Now there's one game to go. How do you think it's going to unfold? Now, do you think Czech Republic could get anything from your game? Do you think Croatia's going to beat Scotland? Scotland's going to beat Croatia? How are you going with it? Now that you've seen
Croatia go out.
Yeah.
I think Croatia go out. I think that Scotland have enough in them. The home advantage is going to be huge. Look, I live fairly central London, right? I live in northwest London, in a place called Kilburn, and I was in the West End yesterday, keeping my head down, right?
Can imagine.
Keeping my head down. Yeah, mate. Do you know what though? I did get recognised by a group. Yeah, by a really sound group from Paisley. I was talking to them on the tube from Paisley.
Okay.
Nice fellas. Yeah. Drunk, really drunk, but they were sound. They recognised me, and I thought, oh my god, I'm going to get chinned. I'm going to get knocked out on the tube. Like, this is bad. But they were lovely. In fairness, like, this is what I found. I found a stick has been like justified and done in the right way. I've got no issue with it at all. But these fellas from Paisley were sound. Like, had a picture in there, and they genuinely thought that they were going to get something. You know, when they were on their way to the game, they thought they were going to get something. But no, I think that the home. Being around the West End, I felt the support. I felt the passion of the Scottish fans. I heard the noise, both at Wembley on the telly and around London yesterday. I think that will be enough to carry Scotland through. I thought Croatia were average. What Croatia do have, which Scotland have to be careful of, they have those moments of brilliance. Look at the goal they scored the other day against against the Czechs. Like, if Scotland can just make sure that they nullify anything massive from Modric, anything massive from Kovacic. Nullify that, and I think if it becomes just a bit of a slogfest, Scotland can get a result. And I also think England will beat the Czech Republic. But I don't know. It's proved I don't know what I'm talking about. So take that with a pinch of salt.
I'm famous for getting everything wrong as well, mate. I wouldn't worry about it, big man. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and fair play coming on the channel and that as well. Like, I'm sure that now that you've done this, it's curtains shut, everything ignored now.
I'm heading to the kickoff now. We're covering the game today. What we did, we're doing the 4 o'clock game.
Right.
So we're covering Portugal, Germany. So there's no getting away from it. But mate, PJ, thank you for having me on, man. It's an honour. Great channel you've got going.
Thank you, mate. And want to tell the people where they can find you on the old internet so they can come ahead and check on you?
No, I don't. No.
Class. I'll tag it just in case anybody wants to give me.
Rory Jennings on YouTube. But
appreciate it, mate.
Be nice.
Absolutely, mate. Well, be justified. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.